Well guys, it took a little bit longer than expected, but I finally completed all the Tyranid half to my Leviathan box. Plus I threw in a few extra for good measure, so let's go on and have a look and see how we did. Well, honestly, it didn't actually take me that long to paint up all the Tyranids from the Leviathan box. Took me painting, a big model a night or a small unit every night. Took me around about 2 to 3 weeks. And but obviously in the time Leviathan came out, I've moved house, set up all new studio and everything. So a lot of life stuff got in the way, but in that time I did also manage to pick up a whole bunch of the new bugs, such as all the Norn Emissary, the Death Leaper, and I painted up a Swarm Lord as well in the meantime. And obviously not just one Norn, what's better than one? Two. I've got the Simulator and the Emissary. They're both right next to me, which honestly I thoroughly enjoyed painting them up. Though I did learn I painted the Norn Emissary first, and I glued it all together and learned from that. Probably should sub-assemble it to do a better paint job, because it is quite hard to paint all, under the arms and everything when they've got, limbs everywhere. So with the Norn Assimilator, I sort of had the legs, the torso part, and the head, and I just did all them individually and glued it all together, which honestly did speed up the painting process quite a lot. And if you are interested in how I painted all of these Tyranids, I have done a video of how I do just a basic Termagant, and I'll link it up here. And if you see anything else on these models that I didn't cover in that video, I think there would only be about 3 things. One would be, obviously, if you can see on the Screamer Killer, the red on the talons. Honestly, I just used an airbrush with just a white ink to sort of do a gradient from the black to the white. And then I went over that in Blood Angel's Contrast to get that nice red on the limbs. And also you'll see on a lot of the models, the big brains and like psychic energy. That I simply just paint the brain Thousand Suns blue. And then obviously then I go in with an airbrush with just pure white over the top. It's pretty simple, and I think it makes a great sort of glowing effect and really makes them pop. And the other thing is obviously on the Winged Prime, just how I did the wings. I did Cadian Flesh. I did about 2-3 coats of that. And then I went in with Goldmine Contrast. And then over the raised areas again, I went back with the original Cadian Flesh just to build that back up. And I think, honestly, painting simply like that is very easy to smash these models out, and got quite a lot done in quite a short amount of time, which is great, especially for like if you're playing, Endless Swarm out of the new codex. You're gonna have to paint a lot of bugs. Like, I think I have maybe 20 more Hormagaunts I need to paint to add to the army. I've got 20 more Termagaunts. I picked up some Gargoyles as well. And obviously I've got some of the new Biovores and things like that I've got to paint up as well. And another unit of Von Ryan Leapers. Though I will say Tyranids do hold a real special place in my heart, because they were the first army I ever bought. I think I was about 6 years old. I picked up a box of Hormagaunts, and I have no idea where they are now, probably smashed to a million pieces, because obviously I was a kid, I used to play with them, not like the game, I'll just paint them and play with them around the yard, I think. And so seeing a bunch of all new bugs, and I think they all look super incredible. Probably my favorite out of the Leviathan box. I do really like the Screamer Killer model, the take on the classic design. They sort of revamped it and obviously made it much bigger. But probably not too keen on running him in game, just because I think he's a bit too expensive at the moment for what he does. But I had a blast painting him up, and I think he looks really menacing. But obviously I always say go with rule of cool over whatever the meta is at the moment, because things change in Warhammer 40k like that, and I honestly think it keeps it a very sort of balanced and updated game, as much as the hassle of, you know, obviously updated rules constantly. But also with these models, I sort of had a design I wanted to go with. I did have some like 3D printed alien bases with like eggs and oozing goo and everything, obviously from my video I did for painting up the Termagant. But I decided to go another way with it. I really did like the intro trailer to the Leviathan box that Games Workshop did, with all of, I think they were the Neurogaunts or Termagants running through the jungle. And obviously that really did remind me of the scene from like Jurassic Park 2 with all the raptors going through the bushes. So I think that I decided to go with a whole bunch of like jungle and grass tufts everywhere. Like I put a lot of tufts on these models. I did Vallejo large jungle tufts, and then Vallejo a wild green, I think. And I pretty much bought out a whole bunch of web stores and just getting these tufts. And yeah, it was really good fun putting them all on the model, especially the little rippers. I'll put a little image up here now of them. I think it really looks cool of them just sort of peeking out through the grass. Now, I do know what you're all going to say, where's the Space Marine half of the Leviathan box? But truth be told, I haven't really painted any of them yet. Obviously, because I play White Scars, and none of the sort of units from Leviathan sort of suit my playstyle with them. I have picked up a bunch of the new Jump Pack Assault Intercessors, as well as the new Captain, and I'm currently doing them up. But I will sort of get to them soon, because I do actually want the Dreadnought from Leviathan box, the new, is it Ballistus Dreadnought? I'll make sure that's correct. And I do want to paint that up, White Scars. I probably want to do most of them White Scars. I'll probably do the Stern Guard. I'm not too sure about the Incinerators. I do like the idea of having them in a drop pod and just landing them down and striking with them, but I just don't see them benefiting from obviously the new Stormlance detachment in the Space Marine Codex, which is advance and charge and fall back and charge. I don't sort of see an advantage of running that. That sort of goes through my head when I'm making my White Scars list. I honestly do think going into any sort of big box of a whole bunch of models is do paint one before you start. Make sure you have a real good solid scheme, because previously I used to do Kraken Tyranids. That's what I used to play up till I think 8th edition, when I stopped playing Tyranids. And then when Leviathan came out, I'm like, you know what? I want to paint the actual Leviathan scheme for Tyranids. And I'm like, what's a real quick, simple, and easy paint job to get any to get a million of these things on the battlefield as quickly as possible while still sort of looking good. So then I developed that method I did in the video, which is just pretty much a lot of contrast paints. And once I sort of tweaked that and figured that out, I then just went in pure bulk mode. Like the pink wash I make up of Volupus Pink and contrast medium. I just went out, bought a big pot of contrast medium, and then did my mix straight into that. Got the water, got the mix I needed, and then just went to town on all of the models. I worked pretty much each individual unit at a time, though except for the Termagants, I did 5 at a time. I did do all the Neurogaunts at once. I reckon they're actually probably my favorite miniatures from the box, apart from the big dudes. They're the cutest things I've ever seen. And like, I thought they were around about the same size as a termagant, but Jesus, they were much smaller than I thought. Just 2 pieces of plastic clicked together. And I'm like, I definitely probably want to pick up a lot more of them and just have probably 3 units of neurogaunts just running around. I think that'd be really cool. Also, speaking of my previous Tyranids, that I did have Kraken Tyranids, I did actually manage to keep my Swarm Lord, and I did strip him and obviously then repaint him for the Leviathan. So very Tyranid, you know, using biomass and remaking it something else. I will probably do a video shortly of if you're ever interested in stripping models and then repainting them. So if you obviously buy an army secondhand online and you want to repaint them, because you can get it probably cheap, I'll do a dedicated video to that shortly of obviously how I strip models. Super easy and simple. So comment down below if that's something you are interested in. And also if there's anything else you see from these Tyranids that you are interested in how I did it. If my video didn't cover that or this one didn't I explain it properly, do comment below. I do comment on pretty much everything. Any tips or guides you want to know how to do something or you're stuck with something, just comment on one of my videos. It doesn't even have to be anything really to do with the video. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you guys enjoyed looking at these Tyranids as much as I did painting them up. It was such a joy to be able to paint, you know, brand new sculpts, not just new models, but new sculpts, new imagined models that obviously I've been painting since I was 6 years old. That's when I started Tyranids, and it was such a joy to be able to, you know, paint reimagined versions of the same things I've grown up with, and having them all out on the table looking awesome. It's just a really good feeling getting all of that done, and also the additions I've done. I've got a lot of work to do than the rest of my Tyranids, you know. Got a good 55 plus more models to add to this army, but I'm really looking forward to getting some paint on the models. Once again, thank you so much for watching Warp Storm, and I'll see you War Masters next time.